So, guys, I've been overseeing email programs for different businesses since about 2011. Today, I'm going to share with you a couple key things to know whenever you're launching a new email initiative. Maybe you've hired on a bunch of BD reps or a new sales team, and you're trying to get those new reps going and make sure they're not going into the junk folder, make sure they're abiding by the law, and you're not going to be at risk. Okay? So the two things we're going to cover today are staying in good standing with email service providers, and then also we're going to talk about the CAN-SPAM Act here in the U.S., which is the law of the land here. So we'll start with the email service providers. What you need to know about the email service providers is that they are going to be kind of keeping your new inboxes in like a probationary period whenever you first bring on a new rep and activate a new inbox. So if a new rep comes on, you don't want them to go out there and start emailing rapidly to all of their accounts and to cold lists that you're getting them from shows or lists you're buying from wherever. You know, if you bought a list from ZoomInfo, or maybe you've got a list from some other third party, or you've scraped the list together from LinkedIn, you first need to go validate that those emails are good before you even start sending to them. So your first step is you're going to want to go out to a site like ZeroBounce right here. I'm showing you on my screen. ZeroBounce will let you know what the deliverability looks like on all of the emails on your list and make sure that you can deliver with a high confidence level to those email addresses. And then you can clean out all the email addresses that are bad from that list and do a safe send. The worst thing that you can do for your reps is give them a dirty list, have them start doing cold email and getting tons of hard bounces on the recipient accounts. Okay, that's going to send horrible signals to your email service provider. It's going to get your new inboxes, your new sales BD reps flagged as spammers, and they're going to have a heck of a time delivering any email from your Outlook or your Gmail accounts after that. So you don't want to put them at a bad position right out the gate. So make sure and run your cold list through ZeroBounce first and get it cleaned up. That's step one, okay? Step number two, instead of just jumping right into high volume sending right out of the gate with your new reps, I recommend you warm up their email. So to warm up their mailbox, this is a process of sending good signals to the email service provider over time. In that first week probationary period, when an account's set up, and you've got a new sender, you're going to want them to send to a mix of recipients. But when I say that, I mean you're going to want them sending to people that are ready to receive their email and they have a relationship with. So sending to people internally at the business, just regular business communications that get opened, that get replies, getting those opens, getting those replies, getting those clicks sends good signals to your email service provider that this is not a spammer, this is someone trying to do business and they're a good actor. So you want to try to steer them in that direction. Make sure they're sending enough of a good balance of internal email and then cold outreach. So the outreach to cold prospects is going to need to ease in. And I'd recommend starting at like a level of 10 cold outreach emails per day per rep as a safe level on the first week. And then incrementally increasing to something like 20 per day the next week. After that, I think that you can bump it to 50, and 50 to 40 cold emails a day is a pretty safe range with any email service provider to guide your outreach for your sales team. So until they are able to build up more and more of credibility with the email service provider, then their sending limits will raise over time as they increase volume and they get good engagement back on that increased send volume. The name of the game is building relationships and getting good engagement on the email. If you do a large mail merge right off the bat with a new email from a new rep, that is probably going to get a lot of poor response from your list because they don't know him and they may not reply. They may drag him into junk or spam, And that's going to signal to the email service provider that his emails do belong in the junk folder. Okay. And then you're just going to get in the junk more and more if you continue down that path, right? And you may even get your email account service punished. You might get to have a service outage for that rep because he's getting too much email flagged for junk and spam. So that's the email service providers. They do have services out there to warm up your inbox. So I'm showing that on my screen right now. It's called Warmbox. There's a few other services out there. I haven't actually used this before, but this is pretty cool. If you do want to warm up your BD reps email inboxes before they even start, you could get an email inbox warmed up for them ahead of time before they even jump into their new position. And then whenever they come on, they could start sending right away at a higher sending limit. Okay. Now, Warmbox right here, if you go down, you can see that it integrates with the big email service providers. You've got your G Suite, your Outlook, your Microsoft Outlook, your Yahoo, and your Zoho. So, I mean, it'll work with all kinds of different senders here. This is just one thought. You might try this out if you want to get a team firing all cylinders faster. Take a look at these services out here. Okay. So that's probably it for the email service providers staying in good standing. The only other thing is they do have like sending rate limits. So if you try to send too many emails in 1 minute, for example, they usually have a limit on that. You try to send like over 30 emails within 1 minute, that could exceed your rate limit with your sender, and that might result in a service outage or an issue. So I recommend sending email from a list over time, breaking up your mail merge sends into multiple sends in a day to avoid having that problem with the sending limits, with the send rate limits, and to make it look more like organic and regular activity to the email service provider, not just these bulk and unusual sending activity, right? Look more organic. Try to look more organic. The next thing I'm going to tell you about is the CAN-SPAM law, right? This is a regulation. I have a guide that I've been working on here for basically just practical email for marketers and sales folks. And what I'm going to show you here is my piece from my guide on the CAN-SPAM Act. This is a law that was signed by Congress in 2003. Basically made rules for commercial emails and basically allows people to choose to stop getting them, to opt out. The Federal Trade Commission is the one government body agency that enforces the law. They enforce laws related to consumer protection. Anyone who's sending commercial emails to recipients in the United States is subject to the CAN-SPAM Act. If you have violations, you can be fined up to $51,744 per offense. And if you're doing something fraudulent in your email, you could also be charged as a criminal. If you're really kind of being a con man or fraud with your email send. And you could have multiple offenses with high fines in one email blast if you're frauding multiple people, okay? So keep that in mind. Don't misrepresent yourself. I made this quick checklist that just goes through the different things that you want to do with your email as a sales rep or as a marketing person. If you're doing marketing email in bulk or you're doing sales email, this applies to both commercial email. In the eyes of the law, it's the same. So if you're sending one-on-one emails and you're a sales rep, this applies to you, okay? If someone hasn't told you to do this, they should have, okay? So here's number one. You make opt-out easy on your emails. That means that you need to have an opt-out path on all of your emails that you send out. This is the biggest thing. So at the bottom of your email, it can be at the very bottom, you just add a line in that says, just reply back if you don't wish to receive any more commercial emails, and reply back with opt out, and we'll take you off of our list. Okay. The next thing is when they do reply back with opt out, someone has to field that and be managing that because it needs to be honored within 10 days. Okay. You don't want them to opt out. It should be done immediately, really, because if they opt out and then you send them another email unwittingly, you could get in trouble for that because they've already tried to opt out. So make sure you jump on it fast. Okay. The next thing is don't use deceptive subject lines or headers. I get this all the time. Sales reps have asked me multiple times in my career, like they have these little tricky ways that they want to do their subject lines to get people to open them. No trickery. Stop with the trickery. Okay. You can be clever and interesting with your subject lines, but don't misrepresent yourself. Don't do the fake replies. I get the fake reply idea all the time from BD reps. You're not the first one who thought of it, and they already know this gig. Okay, so if you try to do the fake replies, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Don't misrepresent yourself. Don't try to trick people into opening your email. Be honest about who you are when you're sending the emails. So make sure you're consistent throughout your email, both in your subject line, who's the from sender, what's your email signature look like. All of that should line up. Okay, especially for cold email outreach. Be very transparent. Include your real mailing address. Okay, every commercial email that goes out needs to include the physical address of your headquarters for your business. Okay, your primary address. And it needs to be accurate. All right, that's an important key piece for compliance with CAN-SPAM for both your sales and your marketing team. Make sure your address is either in your footer, built into your footer block, or just below or built into your for sales reps that are doing the just a plain text sales email. Build it into your signature. Your signature should include these things. Build into your signature your mailing address. Just below your signature, build in that opt-in, opt-out line. And then whenever people ask you and ask you no thanks or ask for help in opting out, you help them with that. Make it easy on them. Don't encourage complaints about your business because you could be caught with your pants down with some violation that you don't realize that you're doing if you get someone that's particularly hurt by what you've done. Okay. So be transparent that your email is an ad. This is the other one for cold email that's especially important. So if you have a list that you've procured from some third party or some list you don't really have relationships with these people for real, then you need to be super transparent that your email is an ad. And CAN-SPAM's pretty clear about this if you go out and look at the policy, okay? So make sure that you disclose that the email has advertising or commercial messaging in it. The way you can do this, the way most people do this is they include early on in the message in the email their introduction. They introduce themselves and their business name is there with them, and they explain basically why they're reaching out. Okay, so that makes it clear that it's a commercial message in the eyes of CAN-SPAM. So just doing that, you're covered, right? But if you want to you should try to make it extra transparent and clear. So go above and beyond if you're sending cold email, and this is for cold email. For people who you already have a relationship with, you still need to make it clear that's a commercial email, but you could just put it in the footer, right? Or you could just use the introduction and that's it. But if it's a cold email, you need to be extra transparent. So that means you should introduce yourself with the business name, and then in your footer, also reiterate that there is commercial messaging in this email. Okay. This email includes commercial messaging. You can just put a line just like that right above your opt-out in below your signature block for the sales reps and built into your signature block for the email marketing platforms. Okay. Just do it like that. You're covered. That's a safe way to send. And I'm going to look at an example for you here. I built this example here. You'll see that the subject line aligns with the content that's in the email. I talk about search engines and growth in the subject line, and down here below, I have information on search engine optimization and marketing. Okay, so it's consistent, no trickery there. Also, I recommend personalization in the header and or like in the subject line, and then also within the greeting, because it'll increase your, this goes back to the email service provider, being in good standing. You want better open rates. You'll get better engagement if you're actually addressing the correct business, addressing the correct person that's receiving. So that'll help you send the right signals and land in junk less, okay? And be less likely to be dragged into junk or marked as spam by the recipient. So the other thing is accurate and consistent sender information. So my email, Alex, my from name is Alex. Down below, my signature block is Alex. It's all consistent. Don't have inconsistencies that could look like something that is fraudulent or misleading in your email sending details, okay? Down here, I introduce myself. My business, Wicked Pitch, focuses exclusively on inbound for growth-oriented startups, okay? So the commercial messaging is there. That is, right there, I'm compliant with like that commercial messaging requirement for the CAN-SPAM regulations. And down below, I also reiterate that in bold. This email contains commercial messaging from Wicked Pitch. All right. So what you're going to need to do, like that's me reiterating it. 1, my business, Wicked Pitch. 2, this email contains commercial messaging from Wicked Pitch. Okay. Super clear that there's commercial messaging in the email. No trickery. Not trying to present this as not being an ad. Okay. Down here below, I've got built into my signature my accurate physical address for the business. And then I've got an easy to follow opt-out instruction right here. This is the one you're going to want to use. If you don't have like a platform built to properly take unsubscribes and send them to a page where they can learn more about their different subscription options, the easy thing to do is for a sales team that's fresh, just add this line. P.S. If you'd rather I stop sending emails, just reply to this email with opt-out. And then if they reply with opt-out, you honor that within 10 days. Okay? So that's really it, guys. I mean, if you do all of these things, then your business development team, your sales team is going to be set up to win on their email. So have a policy, have some operating procedures for sales email outreach, especially for cold prospects. Clean up your list. Make sure that you don't have a bunch of email on your cold list that's going to bounce. If you've got an old database list, clean that up. You don't know if those emails are good anymore. And then warm up the inbox for the new sales reps. Make sure that they start off in good standing with the email service providers by just easing into that cold email and getting good replies and getting good signals out there to the email service providers. And then make sure every single email that goes out abides by the CAN-SPAM regulations, and you're golden. All right, guys. If you want to know more about email, just shoot me a message. You can follow my channel here. I'll be sharing more about email. I share quick tips pretty much daily on marketing tactics and different marketing challenges. So like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody.